In this video, we're going to take a look at Our Savior's Lutheran Church site. So we'll start by, you'll go to your URL, reachingoutandlove.org/wp-admin. And this is where you'll put in the username and password that we give you, and you'll log in, and this is the back end, the part where we can make changes, edit pages. So I'll go down this list of most of these things here on the left and talk about how to do some of the things that are the main things that you guys do. So starting with updates, these are just plugins on your website, and we regularly update those for you, so you can either select them all and update them when you see them, or you don't have to. For posts, you're not using a blog or anything right now, so there's nothing there. So we'll move on to events. And on your site, you've got a calendar, and then you also have this event slider here. And so I'll show you kind of how that works. So for any event here, if you wanted to just edit an event that was already there, you could click on one and edit it. And edit the time or the description or anything like that. But if you wanted to create a new event, then you just click Add New, and you would give your event a title here at the top where it says Enter Title, and then you'd say, click your date, choose whatever date that it's going to be on, and a time, and then if it doesn't have an end time, you can click No End Time, or if it's just an all-day event and there's no time, it's just something that's happening that day, or you can, put a beginning and an ending time. You can also use this repeat function. So let's say you want to put a Bible study on the calendar, then you would say you're going to repeat weekly every 1 week on Sunday and never after on a certain date. So you could do that, and then your description goes here. And if you want your event to show up on this slider, then what you would do is set a featured image. So you would grab a picture from somewhere. I use this website for free stock photos, or Pixabay if you want to do this. But again, you can always ask us to do this for you. But anyway, you can get a stock photo or a photo or whatever, add it here, then set that as your featured image, and then you're going to want to select featured event, and then you would click publish, and that event would show up on the calendar, and then it would also show up on the slider if featured event is selected, and you just want there to be an image in the background, and so whatever you choose will show up in the background. And I don't think that showed up, otherwise I would delete it. And if you ever wanted to delete, you would just click trash underneath it. That's probably all you would need to know about events. Media, this is just where your photos, PDFs, those type of things are located. You can see them here. You can look at them. You can get the URL for them here. But anytime you're going to need to use any of your media, like just in that event, there's an option to set the featured image, and it brings you to your media library. So we'll move on to forms, and I don't know if you guys are using a form. Yeah, you have a contact form. So these have just pretty simple entry fields here. So the fields are standard or advanced, and you would just add things to them by clicking, and it'll show up at the bottom. I'm not sure why it's not doing. There we go. And if you want to rearrange things, you can rearrange them. If you want to change the field label, you can do that. You can make it a required field. Those kind of things. And let's look at, I want to look at this kids registration. So it looks like I probably made these for you, and so it looks like you can use any of these options for your signups or anything like that. You can change the settings so that they send to a certain person's email. That looks like some spam in there. Excuse me. So for these forms, you can click on notifications. And if you wanted to duplicate this, then you can go in here and add a different email. So you can send it to the passer, the assistant, anybody. You can send that through that way, and then just click update notification, and so then the entries from the forms will be sent to that person. And they're pretty self-explanatory the way that these work, but if you wanted to use them again next year, you could always just duplicate the forms. And you've got single line text paragraph, you've got buttons, so you can, add a first, second, third, fourth choice. You can get rid of these, things like that. It's somewhat self-explanatory, but if you need more help with that along the way, I can certainly help with that. So let's move on to pages. And these are just everything that's located within these submenu areas. And a lot of times, if you're already logged in, I would just find the page I'm looking for and then go to that page and click edit, and it'll take you right there. Or within pages back here, you can search, you're looking for the weekly announcement page. Then I can click on that. And so if you want to edit anything in here, this works kind of just like any word processing program. You can change the size of your text. You can bold, italicize, bullet, numbered list. You can align it differently. You can add pictures within the page. So wherever your cursor is, if you click add media, then you can choose any photo or document. And then whenever you're satisfied with your changes, you would just click update. And these here are hyperlinked to certain emails, so I can hyperlink anything. So whatever word or phrase, I can click that button here, and then I can type in a URL, paste a URL, or I can choose any other page or event on the site and select that, and that becomes a hyperlink, and I can remove it just by doing that. And those are the main things to know on the pages section. I don't think we are using the sermons plugin. No. And homepage areas. We are using that. That's what creates these home pages here. And if you want to change things on the homepage if you want to add a new section or something. You're more than welcome to. Basically, what we've got is I have that slider at the top. I have your I'm new, that events slider, which both the slider and the event slider just have short code in this section, so there's nothing to really edit here. But in this service times section, so let's say you ever change your service times, this is where that's located, and then this is hyperlinked to your calendar. Then you can change that here and click update. And right now all this is just centered text, and if you scroll down, the formatting for the homepage area is down here, and the only formatting on this particular section is just that there is the padding is checked, which means that it gives that some extra space around all of the words. And then you also have a map, but that's not in the homepage areas. So if you ever want to change any of the wording here, that's under this section, I'm guessing. Yeah, so you can change the wording. These are hyperlinked, and then they're also formatted as a button, and that's what makes them look like buttons. So if you end up wanting to add something else to your homepage, you can add another section. It looks nice right now the way it's blocked, and then there's photos, and then white and photo and white, and then a map. So if you do add another section, then you might think about coming down here and you want to click padding yes, and then you might change the background color or make it the background a photo or give it a color. So those are the main things about homepage areas, and then under reorder, that's where you could move them around by dragging them if you wanted to. Under appearance, there's two things to talk about, widgets and menus. So we'll start with widgets. Under the header, we just have the name of your church, and so you're probably not going to want to change that at all. And then we have a menu under that, and that's just how we get the menu where it goes. And then in the footer, this is where your map is, and so that's added by clicking over here, WP Google Map, and then we selected where to put it, and then clicked Add Widget. So let's see, is there anything else in the footer? And then we also have your social media menu down here, and I'll show you kind of how to update that under menus. So probably not going to change much or anything in the widgets. If you do end up having questions, you can let me know. And then under menus, we have your main menu, and you can see the order of all your items here, and it's just pages. So if you ever create a new page and you want to add it, so let's say you're probably not going to add it as another main menu item here because it would be too crowded. But if you wanted to add it as a sub menu item under ministries, let's say you start a new ministry, if you create that page, it's going to show up over here, and I would just select it and click add to menu, or I could search for it if it doesn't show up, and then it's just going to show up down here, and then I can drag it and put it wherever I want. So I can put it under ministries at the bottom by making it a sub item right there. And then if I gave the page a title and I want to change the way it looks on the menu, then I can change it here by typing whatever I want and then clicking save menu when I'm done. And the same works for social media menu. So go to social media menu, and then this actually looks a little different. And so how this works is if you ever get a Twitter or something and you want to add a new element here, what you would do is say custom link, and then you'd put the URL of your Twitter page or whatever, and then you would copy this, paste it here, and put Twitter there, and Twitter there, and then you'd click add to menu and it would show up, and then you could put it wherever you wanted. And you can also remove it. So those are the main things there. Plugins we already talked about. That's what helps create your site, and that's what can be updated. Under users, this is where I don't think I have a... Yeah, okay, I do have an admin login for you here. And this is where... That's not what I wanted. This is where you can change your password if you'd like. Right here. And you can create new users here as well. If you'd like to add a new user, then you can put their name and email, password, and you would say administrator, but you're going to want to be very careful about who you give that to, and you're going to want to make sure it's a very strong and solid password. So moving on, we'll talk about... I don't think there's anything here we need to talk about. I'll just show you Slider Revolution. So this is your homepage slider, and you can see these different sermon series ones that I've created. So if you ever want to change these, the ones that remain all the time that don't change with the sermons, if you wanted to change the wording, just click on it and change the wording. You can change this button if you'd like. You can make it say something different. You can make it link somewhere else. This is the link here. You can change the picture in the background by clicking Media Library and selecting any picture from the background. And then you'll just want to go through each screen size and make sure it fits within those bounds and looks good, because it's a responsive slider, and so it's going to look different on different screens. And you'd always want to click save, and you can preview the slide here. So if you ever want to create a new slide, again, I can always do these for you. You don't ever have to feel like you have to do these. But what I usually do is, let's say you've got a new sermon series. So I take a previous slide, so you can see this one, or let's go with this one, because this one has a button on it. So what I do is I duplicate this slide, and then I edit it with the information that you give me. So I'll find a picture from a free stock photo site, and then I will go to the media library, and I'll either, drag the new file here or use one that's already there, put that in the background, and then new sermon series I leave the same, but I'm going to change this to whatever I want the title to be. And I usually leave the font the same size unless it's an extra long title. And then, like we did with our pages, so if I want to add a new page for a sermon series, I add a new page, give it a title. So and then it's going to generate a link for me, and then I'm going to copy and paste this link, and under actions I'm going to paste this link here so that it goes to my new page. And then I'm going to look through each screen size, make sure it looks okay. If I need to change the font size, I can change it. Just need to make sure the line height stays the same as well. And You can change any of the things. You can change the animation. You can change the color of the text. You can make sure it's aligned. And you want to make sure everything's centered up, but placed where you want it. Make sure it's in the middle. You can make the font weight bigger or smaller depending on what font you're using. So that's how I make the sermon series ones, and we haven't changed the homepage ones, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that because we don't want it. And yeah, if you ever wanted to change any of the wording on these, it would work the same way. You can just change the wording, and you can make it bigger or smaller. These two just need to remain the same. You can make the font bigger or smaller in the weight. You can change the color, like I said. Change what it says. You can change what this says, and you can also change the animation, the way that it works. You can change the timing of the animation down here, and you can change where it links to. Those are probably the main things you're going to want to know. And on Google Maps, there's probably not much you're going to want to change on your map because we've got it set up to the right height height and width so that it looks good. But if you ever end up needing to change anything with that, you can contact us. I just don't imagine that you ever will. The only other thing I am thinking you might want to know how to do is we change up these weekly announcements each week. And so how I do this is I come in here and I click edit. And so wherever my file, I've downloaded the file from the email. So I'll go to add media, and then I'll drag it in here and upload that file. So like this is the most recent one. And so once it's uploaded, it has a URL. So I copy that URL and I'll change the wording here. So like if I need to change this to say, it's going to be the 13th maybe is this Sunday or something. So if I want to change that to say 13, I would change it, but I don't want to do that. And then all I do is click edit this, and then I would paste the URL right there and click apply, and then click update. And that's all I do to update the weekly announcements. And I think you can set that as a PDF or a Word doc, however you want to do that. So I think those are the main things that we use all the time. If you have any more questions, or if there's other things you want me to put in a video, you can let me know. But I think this will get you started and help you feel like you can do a few things on your own if you're so interested. But always reach out. Let us know if there's anything else that we can help you with.